try to make it easier to do the mashing in a way that's like... I'm just gonna start running while I discuss that topic. So, even though turbo is kind of a gray area, I have looked into a number of different ways where I could try to make the mashing easier in various ways, and I have not found any way to do so. So examples of things I've tried is mashing on both controller and on keyboard or mouse at the same time. And essentially that is not possible. Keyboard and control, like doing a keyboard and a controller input would work. However, controller inputs, because of an issue with Steam controller API, the controller actually cannot do a jump input on the first frame. That's why I actually can't do that mashing on controller. I have to do it on keyboard or mouse, because doing it on controller actually is incapable of doing that trick. Which is really weird, but that's the way it is. So I couldn't, for example, you know, click on my mouse and click on the controller with the other hand or something. I have tried... You cannot bind jump to, like, scroll wheel or something like that, like you would in, like, a Source game. People do to, like, bunny hop in, like, CSGO or whatever. You can't do that. Scroll wheel is not a valid bind for jumping. And there's a program I tried using to remap keys so that I could try mashing, like, you know, 1, 2, 3 on my keyboard with, like, 3 different fingers. And all of them be like different valid jump inputs, and maybe that would be quicker than trying to just mash one key over and over again. There's 2 problems with that. Problem number 1 is that if you press another jump key before you let go of the previous one, then you're simply holding jump. And that is extremely ineffective mashing. So like mashing multiple buttons that do the same thing at the same time is pretty tough, and a lot of times it results in kind of stepping on your own foot a little bit, and you're functionally holding jump instead of mashing it. And the other problem is, even when I tried to do the key remapping, like I could make it so 1, 2, and 3 are all recognized by Windows as the spacebar, and then I could set it so that spacebar means jump. And then, like, you know, if my computer password was, like, password 1, 2, 3, I literally couldn't type my password if I wanted to, because 1, 2, and 3 are all spacebar. Like, that's how, like, deep into the system that you've programmed it, that, you know, the keys are a different, the keystrokes are, like, you know, completely changed, right? Even at the Windows operating system level. However, the game program still recognizes what actual key you're pressing. It doesn't care if 1, 2, and 3 will simply make a space in a word program. In the game terms, they're still 1, 2, and 3, and they're not all bound to space. So even if jump is spacebar, and like 1, 2, 3 create spaces in a word program, they still don't all become jump in the game, even though space is jump. So yeah, those are all like the various things I've tried, and as far as I can tell, there was no practical way I could find where, even without using turbo, that I could make any other part of that mashing more consistent. The only consistent ways I'm able to do it are use turbo or mash one button. So yeah, I tried a plethora of other ways to do it, and I wasn't able to find anything better than just mashing one button. Not for lack of effort, though. But yeah, it's... One of the other runners of this game described that Gale Shrine trick as being like Dampe and Ocarina of Time, where in like Ocarina of Time 100%, they need to get the heart piece from Dampe, who digs up heart pieces from graves, but it's a 1 in 10 chance. And essentially, there's no quick time that they can do it in the run until usually like an hour or 2 hours in. It's kind of changed over the years as the route has changed, but there's basically this like major RNG point in Ocarina of Time where sometimes you do just amazing run, and then you go to Dampe, and then it takes 15 tries for Dampe to dig up the heart, and your run is just completely dead. And this is kind of the same thing for this game as well. It's essentially, you know, whether I get the dark hop, it's called dark hopping when you get that first frame jump with without ever touching the ground, essentially. It's more or less pure luck whether I get it first try or I get it 8th try. All you can do is just mash as fast as you possibly can, and even with the fastest mashing speed, it's probably still going to take you, you know, like 1 in 3 tries or 1 in 4 tries to get it. You can't mash a button 15 times per second. Exactly every other frame. If you did that, you'd have a 50% chance to succeed. But everybody's mashing speed is slower than that. So, like, optimistically, it's like a 1 in 3 chance. Yeah, so that's kind of the discussion, is like, do you really want to have it in your game that, like, simply using turbo for one part of the game is banned? And it's kind of a complicated discussion. Oh, and actually, just to touch on one other thing briefly, I guess I'm jumping around a little bit. One of the other reasons why it's really hard to set up, like, multiple key mashing or anything like that is because I also have to hold down direction right. Part of getting that first frame jump is you have to hold a movement direction while you're doing it. So whatever setup I would do where I have to push multiple buttons and all of them are mashing jump or whatever like that, I also need to be holding down a direction on the keyboard, and I also need to be ready to pause the game in order to do the first KT. So whatever idea I would have to make where, like, I'm clicking both mouse buttons or hitting 1, 2, 3 and all of them are bound to jump and I'm like pianoing them in a row, kind of, or whatever. I also need to be able to do the trick coming out of doing that, which is also pretty difficult. But, okay, so yeah, the concepts around turbo, it is pretty challenging. So essentially, using turbo in that instance, it's basically just removing an element of luck from the run. It's taking something that's like difficult to do and that's like arthritis-inducing mashing, and it replaces it with a program that does the mashing for you, and that everybody will have the exact same chance of success, essentially. And it's also, even though it's like, in a way, it's like tool assistance, which is usually kind of frowned upon in speedrunning in general. I mean, it kind of varies by game, but I think as a general concept, most people would say that they think it's better for a speedrun to stand on its own and to be just a player in the game and to have the minimum number of external tools, barriers to entry, and stuff like that. So while that makes sense, having like a turbo jump button is one of the most accessible things you could imagine. Like, anybody on PC could easily set up like essentially an auto clicker to do that. And there's also lots of turbo controllers that exist, so it's not something that's necessarily exclusive to PC players or anything like that. It's something that absolutely people playing on Switch or PS4 or anything like that would also be able to use it. And yeah, it's being used for, you know, at least for the only place that I'm using it, or previously was using it, is it's not replacing like something that takes skill or anything like that. It's purely replacing something that's like a really toxic and frustrating part of the run. So some of like the concepts that make turbo very complicated is then the question becomes, are you allowed to use turbo in other parts of the run? Because for example, you could use turbo to mash start to allow you to skip cutscenes like frame perfectly, which would allow you to save time quicker than somebody who's mashing start in order to skip cutscenes. Instead, turbo would be able to skip them more quickly every single time, essentially. I gotta skip that. Or something like digging turnips, which I don't do in this run, but that does get done in like basically every new game run. Using turbo to dig turnips would be a little bit suspicious. Essentially, you mash triangle, or you know, you mash a button essentially to dig turnips, and the quicker you mash, the faster you dig. And that's actually, it's not it's like a pretty, oh my god, my fucking boulder, dude, let me go. It's a pretty big difference. Oh my god, dude, this thing is like trolling so hard. Holy shit. Whatever. Your speed at mashing when digging up turnips is relatively important. There's a number of factors. Dude, this split is a train wreck. There's like a number of factors that can influence your speed in like turnip digging, other than just mashing itself. But the mashing itself is important. So then when you think about these ideas of like, do you have to allow turbo but only in that one area? And then now it's like kind of hard to moderate. Are people using it in other areas? And you know, do we want to create that kind of gray area or whatever? It's kind of a complicated subject, and I was more split on it before. I think at this point I'm actually fairly decidedly that I would prefer that they did allow turbo. Nobody else is really doing speedruns of this category with this trick. It's fairly new, and it's also really hard. That Gale Shrine Origin Warp thing is really, really difficult to do. So nobody's really doing it right now. But I don't know. I mean, my opinion as the only person that's actually doing the trick is that doing the speedrun without turbo, it's kind of awful in a lot of ways. I just want to get one run done, just so I can like have a nice time with this route and just have it be, you know, have a nice speedrun, have it so that like the leaderboard has the most current strat right at the top, and if people watch that run, or want to see my interpretation of how you route the game when doing that trick, because it's quite different, or anything like that, then yeah, it's like, you know, I want my time to be using this, you know, most recent strategy, but even doing one run with that trick without using turbo is just unbelievably brutal, because every time it's just savage. I think I don't have to use an XL here, because this guy's so close to me. Yeah, it's quicker to kill him there. So once I do this run, the world record is going to be unbeatable without using that trick anyway. However, I'm going to beat it without using turbo, so people can use it or they cannot. But regardless, it's not going to be possible to beat my run with this trick. Assuming I can ever do it in like a reasonable time frame without losing like 5 minutes. So for the total time save of that trick, it's pretty hard to estimate. It's a really complicated question, and this was only found a couple weeks ago, and this isn't like the most popular category, so it's not something that's been like massively researched and like fully implemented, I guess. Oh my god. I was trying to store dash and I ended up just like kind of dicking around for too long, so I didn't store dash. If I had to guess, I would say like 5 or 6 minutes. It saves a lot of time. So the entire dog section of Kusa Village, I should really make sure I'm cutscene mashing and stuff accurately. I think I'm losing quite a bit of time to... But like, I just need to focus on the cutscene mashing when those come up. But basically, that entire section in Kusa Village where you're supposed to talk to Princess Fusei and you do the dogs and everything, that section takes about like 3 to 3.5 minutes or so. And you also have to run up and down... Oh no, I'm slow. You also have to run up and down like this really long pathway to get to the village, which normally happens twice in a run that can't use dogs. You're fine, you're not distracting me, it's fine. So that run takes like 25 seconds or something like that. So you avoid running up and down that section an extra time. So you save like, I don't know, like 4 minutes or something like that. You also save... I have to focus on this briefly. You save doing the fight with Fusei's imps. You don't have to do that. You save doing turnips. You save fighting Hayabusa, which is like a 2 to 2.5 minute detour, something like that. Fighting Hayabusa is a really kind of arduous process. You skip fighting Ume and the associated cutscenes. You skip the cutscene of getting Crescent. There's like a huge amount of time saved, so like everywhere. However, there are some places where you lose time. So the places where you lose time is because I don't get Crescent. However, I need it to be nighttime when I go to Dragon Palace, which is what I was going to do right after getting out of Gale Shrine. After you go to Gale Shrine, you get Gale Storm, and you need Gale Storm in order to go to North Ryoshima and do the Whirlpool Galaxy, so you can enter the Dragon Palace. So as soon as I leave Gale Shrine, I'm about to head over to go to the Dragon Palace. And in order to do the Whirlpool Galaxy thing, where you spin the stars and it creates the whirlpool or whatever, that whole thing has to be done at nighttime. Which means I need to wait. When you get... I'm gonna do this really quick. Fuck, I was a little bit too high, I think. Am I too high again? No, I'm not. Okay. Once you... There's a number of parts in the game where the time is set to daytime. So places where this happen is in Suta Ruins. You have to draw that sunrise in order to spawn the pots so you can destroy them. That sets it to daytime in the game. It also set to daytime when you get Gale Storm. You like blow away the cursed wind, and the game makes it daytime automatically. And also when you summon Orca, you have to draw a sunrise, which makes it daytime. And when you bloom Ryoshima Coast, and I mean when you bloom anywhere, but the latest one that you have to bloom in the category is Ryoshima Coast. And that also sets it to daytime. So basically, there's all these sections in the run where the game is forced to be the very beginning of day, and day is like 6.5 minutes long. So kind of no matter how you cut it, because we don't get Crescent, we don't have a way to make it night whenever we want. And the only way that you can quickly force it to be nighttime is at the very beginning of the game, when you talk to the guy with the wanted list, to make it nighttime. He automatically makes it nighttime. But we need to use that in order to get Cherry Bomb, because you also need it to be nighttime for Cherry Bomb. And because of the rock I just blew up in order to get to Waka there, we have to get Cherry Bomb right away. So it's not an option to delay that one like manual nighttime that you get in like the entire run. We can't delay that later and get like Cherry Bomb and do the Whirlpool Galaxy at the same time or something like that. That's not an option. So, the outcome of everything I just explained is I bloom Ryoshima, which makes it daytime. I go to Suta Ruins, which sets it to daytime again. And then I go to Gale Shrine, which sets it to daytime like the third time in a row. And then I need to wait for it to be nighttime. Which, there's a couple things that I can do while I wait. But essentially the run is going to have somewhere in the range of like, usually around like 1.5 to 2 minutes or so of just like standing there and waiting at the guy who wishes on a star to create the Whirlpool Galaxy. Because there's literally nothing you can do to make it so that there's less daytime. So after all those day resets, I go get Fire Burst early because time passes in Seiyan City. So I can do the trick where I can get Fire Burst without doing Imperial Palace, which is normally required to do it first. And then I can do a trick to get into North Ryoshima early, without needing to talk to Queen Himiko, who opens the gate for you, which is also meant to be done after Imperial Palace. So I skip both of those things, and then I can do Watcher's Cape early, which allows me to use KTs to climb up the Watcher's Cape, which is where you summon the Whirlpool Galaxy. Without having Cat Call, which is normally meant to be a required ability in order to get up there as well. You're supposed to have already done the Cat Call Tower, but we don't want to do that because that would require us to make another sunrise, and we're not doing that. So instead, we go up there and we just wait. So all of those things happen during the day-night cycle, so they functionally don't lose time, like getting Fire Burst and doing North Ryoshima early and doing Cat Call early are all just basically free time, because we need to wait anyway. You just have to wait 6.5 minutes in the overworld, and there's no way around it. But when you do all those things, and you also have to run from Gale Shrine, which takes quite a while, that passes time as well. And all those things kind of kill time, but there ends up being like 2 minutes or so of dead time that you just end up waiting there. So the point is, you save an absolutely insane amount of time doing that trick, but it makes it very complicated to estimate the total time saved because you also lose some time because you have to wait for nighttime like that. It makes it kind of a complicated calculation. It would take quite some time to figure out exactly how much time it saves, and I haven't found it necessary to do that yet. I tend to be a little bit lazy in terms of like the documentation, research kind of department. I have a tendency to just play the game, except Sheptastico. I usually just want to do the run. I don't like doing so much like research and like video editing and like timing and trying to figure out the absolute optimal way to do this route and exactly how much faster it is than the previous route. But basically what it comes down to is it's really fast, essentially. This trick, like, invalidates other categories pretty hard. Not other categories, other, like, routes. It's vastly superior, except for the fact that it's, like, super oppressive to the speedrunner. So is it a New Game Plus trick, or does it work for New Game 2? So, in the original New Game Plus, I know that this isn't what you asked, but just to provide another little bit of background, the original New Game Plus, like the old ones on like Wii, PS2, PS3, all that kind of stuff, they've actually done this trick for a while. Because they have that ability to just fly, essentially, they can like repeatedly jump in midair by using frame-perfect inputs. They've had a way to do this trick for a long time. However, other categories haven't. So, can New Game do this trick? So, technically, yes. Technically, frame-perfect jumping would allow you to do the exact same thing that I do. I use the KT glitch in order to repeatedly jump without touching the ground. You could also repeatedly jump while touching the ground, but you jump frame perfectly. And if you only touch the ground for one frame, your kind of respawn point doesn't upgrade, and you can still trick the game to respawning you somewhere that you've never been, which is called origin warping. And the origin is in the elevator, and that's the whole concept. So technically this trick is possible to do in New Game as well. And it would also save a shit ton of time in New Game. But doing multiple, you'd have to do like 15 frame perfect jumps or something like that. It would be oppressive on a level that like would make this category look like a joke. So it is possible. It's kind of like, it would probably be considered TAS only, except this game doesn't really have tool-assisted speedruns in like the typical sense of the word. Nobody's ever actually done it. One of the runners, Eternal Darkness, has tried doing it, and he's gotten pretty close multiple times. But it is, first of all, like, unimaginably difficult. And he's probably the only person who could get even remotely close to doing it. And then second of all, even if you could, like, do the trick, like, in a vacuum, even if you could prove that it's possible to do it on New Game, doing it in a run would just be unbelievable. New Game tricks are a lot harder than the tricks in this speedrun. A lot of the things I do in this run can also be done in New Game without using these Karmic Transformer glitches. But they're just way harder. Like this trick I'm about to do, City Checkpoint Skip, it's, you know, it's a little bit tough in this category, but New Game runners also do this trick without needing to use Karmic Transformer glitch. They just use an extremely precise sliding ground tackle and wall jump and everything, and they're able to get up as well. So having this like insane multiple frame perfect, I have to focus on this briefly. Oh no, man, I hate this trick. Okay, alright, that's not that bad. Failing it one time, I'm okay with. The trick really stresses me out. Irrationally so. So, the New Game category has just a ton of insanely difficult tricks. I have the world record in that category as well. And there are just so many tricks that are like multiple, like frame perfect inputs. They're like extremely precise movement. Just a ton of like very, very kind of oppressive sorts of tricks. And doing all of those tricks in like a reasonable time frame, and then doing this Gale Shrine origin warp, and you have to jump 15 times frame perfectly. It would be like basically the most soul-crushing speedrun that I could ever imagine. So technically this can be done in New Game, but I don't think anybody's going to try. I'm certainly not going to try, and the current second place runner, Alright, I don't think would have any interest in trying as well. Because he tends to be very time conscientious. He's got like a lot going on in his life, and anybody who wanted to do that trick in New Game would have to reset so many times to landing for one frame. You would need to have just an unimaginable amount of free time. I would like to clip into the stairs. Yesterday. Oh man, I thought that attempt was perfect. Dude, let me in. That was a little bit slow, but not that bad. It was similar to having second try city checkpoint skip. It was bad, but in an acceptable range of bad that I'm not going to be upset about it. This trick is finicky as fuck. You can't let it upset you. Sometimes it takes a couple tries. You don't feel good about it, but you can't feel that bad about it. Because these things just happen. Alright, now we've got double jump. 32 minutes have passed in a blur, as I've been, like, barely paying attention to my video game and instead discussing some meta concepts. Now hard stuff is time to happen. Alright, we got the Ubume skip again, that's really nice. Ubume skip is like, it's a trick that can be done consistently, but it's still like, even when you practice it a lot, you can always mess it up. It's definitely finicky. And I would not say that I practice it a lot anymore. Not for a long time. I went the really slow way to menu there. So, we have a couple kind of slow things to do here, fishing and stuff, and then we're gonna do some really fast stuff. Hopefully. Unfortunately, the Suda Ruins in my last run was very, very good, and that run died in a fire. And, you know, to something that is kind of my fault, but also, in a way, it's at a level of difficulty where you just can't expect yourself to do it every time, so it's not, some of the mashing is necessarily my fault, but I failed the trick twice as well, which is my fault, but it's also super hard, so them's the breaks. However, I will get to try again soon, but I will not likely get to try again having the Sutra Ruins as good as my last time, because that last Sutra Ruins was 0 mistakes, actually. I did the intro cutscene skip, I did the second cutscene skip at the top of the statue, and I don't know that I made a single mistake doing any of the blockhead skip KTs. I think I did everything perfectly. So I will likely not have the advantage of having such a nice time save from Suto Ruins. I think I should still save time, but I think on average I'm probably going to be saving like 20 or 30 seconds rather than saving like 50 seconds like I did, because that was really, really unique. That was absolutely phenomenal. 1 in 20 tries Suta or whatever. It just doesn't happen like that every time. It all starts with the cutscene skip. Alright, cutscene is skipped on the way in. Now we gotta cross the poison, which is kind of precise. I'm way too high. Maybe here I can do it? Alright, I tackled a little bit too high, which made it so I couldn't do it. This should be okay. Okay. Now we're going up. Okay. Now we gotta skip this cutscene. Alright, we got that cutscene skipped as well. So I fell on the poison ones, but other than that, it's been pretty good so far. We're like halfway there. I'm scared right now. Okay, that was really scary. Alright, we're in the clear. I have good speed. I'm gonna make it. Alright, so that was pretty good. It wasn't as good as last time, but that was still actually really, really well executed. So, good job me. That was perfectly acceptable and really quite overall a solid A- execution there. Maybe a solid A even. Really about as good as you can expect. Yeah, that trick is really stressful. Every one of those, like, KTs to climb up the statue is really finicky. The window doing the, doing that liquid KT, it's a really precise jump. And then doing the thing like landing on the bud is kind of finicky. The, tackle jump off of the bud to land on that like other part is pretty weird. There's a lot of places where you can like bonk on invisible walls in midair when you're going to that floating bud, or you're going to the section after that. There's like 2 places where you could air tackle and you end up bonking on like invisible collision. So there's a lot of like really spooky shit that can happen there as well. Welcome back, Mr. Tucorsis. I don't know how to say your name. Ooh, that wasn't very good. I should really practice this. Losing time to this isn't really a great look. Oh, dude. Come on. Okay, that was kind of unacceptable, but whatever. I probably lost like 15 seconds there. That's pretty bad. I need to practice that. It's kind of finicky how to do that. What you're trying to avoid doing when you're doing that, normally what the game intends you to do is to run up the mushrooms. You can jump up the mushrooms and get up top there. And you can run all the way up and then slash the pots. But I don't want to do that, so I can use double jump to make it easier for me. You can actually do it while jumping too. But I've been having some trouble doing that. But yeah, not every cutscene will teleport you, but a number of them do. And that's an example of one of them, where like, the game assumes that when you break the pots that you were up top of the waterfall, where the pots are. The game is in fact mistaken that I never went up there, but normally, for like casual purposes, it's not quite so noticeable. Now I have to do the cutscene skip on the way out here. Whoa, don't open that. Alright, we have cutscene skipped the way out. So as you can see, I saved 32 seconds. I did not get the 50-second time save due to falling in the poison and due to having that trouble with the pots, but I did have a nice time save there. So, we're going into Gale Shrine. I'm about 25 seconds slower than the last time I got to do Gale Shrine. I do not have auto-split set up for this category. I do use auto-splitting for new game, but when I run all brushes or this category, I haven't set up different auto-splitters for all of those categories, because I don't run them quite as much. And it's kind of a pain to set up. We don't have a memory-based auto-splitter, I think, for this game, or if we do, it's a little bit like kind of beta. I know actually somebody uses a memory auto-splitter, but I'm not sure that whole situation. I use an image-based auto-splitter, but I have to like manually set all the images for that, and I tend not to do so as for other categories. It would take quite a bit of time. Because when you do an image auto-splitter, it's pretty unique to like you and your own run. You have to set it for each, like, the way that you want to set up your splits. I'm going to take off String of Beads here. Because I have to die in String of Beads, you can't die. Yeah, and especially when categories are having like route changes and stuff like that, I'm just very like kind of impatient. I'm not impatient in terms of like my work ethic necessarily, or like you know, I'm willing to like put in the work and like do that kind of thing, but I don't like spending a lot of time doing like bookkeeping and like that kind of stuff. So for me, it's like when there's a trick like this, like I could set up an auto splitter and like, you know, practice every part of the run. Ooh, man. And, you know, practice a whole bunch and everything, but I tend to have a more like just kind of YOLO it a little bit. Yeah, so Chiptastico, I know that there's one guy, I think his name Tom Prios. There's somebody in the Discord who uses a memory auto splitter. Yeah, I've never messed with it. I don't know if a lot of other people have messed with it too. I'm not sure what the limitations are like, if it has a lot of shortcomings with it, or if it's like perfectly usable. I'm not really sure. Alright, I gotta focus pretty hard on this trick. Yeah, one of the guys in the any percent section, like Tom Prios or whatever, he uses one. He's having a little bit of trouble with it, but I think it generally works. Alright, I'm gonna stop talking. I need to focus on this trick. This shit's like crazy hard. Let's focus up. I'm not gonna talk until I get the trick. You can listen to the sound of me actually mashing my mouse if the mic picks it up. It's actually pretty quiet. You probably can't hear it, but whatever. My mouse isn't that loud. I'm too high. I hope I didn't touch the ground there. there. Too high. I did it! Oh my god, I get to play the video game! Oh my fucking god! What is it like to play the rest of the game? Dude, that's such a relief. All I need to avoid now, there's one more huge butt clench. Is, the soft block. Oh god, that was horrible. Soft blocking and Dragon Palace. Unless I want to wuss out and not do that skip. I have to decide if I'm willing to do that skip or not and risk soft blocking. If I soft block this run, I'm gonna unironically cry. Like, not trolling. So I have to think about the implications of going for that trick and risking, like, the only thing that could cause me to not complete the run, essentially, is that soft block. I don't actually know how much time that trick saves to do that. I think I'm gonna go for it. But I need to, like, wake up and make sure that I'm doing it from a smart position. I'm losing a little bit of time here, but also note that the run that I'm splitting against is using turbo. So it got second try Dark Step, and it took me, I think, like 4 tries or something like that in this run, which is like normal for not using turbo, essentially. You could get it faster, but it's a little bit lucky if you get it first or second try. And I was not quite that lucky, but I did get the trick first try, so that's always good. So here's a funny thing about this this section of the run that I haven't explained in a while. So because we did that warp to enter the elevator, we never unlocked the lockjaw. Whoop. That like blocks off the elevator. So the elevator is actually... Oh, fuck. My angle is bad there. Losing time to this trick is kind of cringe. Dude, my fucking camera is trolling me. I'm not having a happy time right now with this camera. Why is my camera doing this? Dude, I cannot line up my camera. This is so embarrassing. Let me just line it up and just stop moving. I'm trying to hold... The reason why that was happening is I'm trying to hold a direction to, like, move me while I'm falling, but by doing so, I'm misaligning myself from the bridge. Like, I'm moving while I'm falling, and it makes it way harder, and I clearly was not prepared for dealing with that at that particular moment, so I had to stop it. Man, that sucks. That was a really unfortunate way to lose, like, what was that, like, probably 30 seconds or something? That's not feeling great about that. I was really hoping to keep the pace better. So, though, because you warp into the elevator, normally you have to get a key from a demon gate and unlock a lockjaw that's blocking the elevator. The actual only way to get out of Gale Shrine is to do that trick, because if you try to jump down the elevator like you normally would, it's actually locked from the outside. There's no way to open it and do that normally. The only way to leave is to use that Gale Shrine escape method to fall down the entire windmill onto the bridge. There's no other way to leave, intriguingly. I need to put String of Beads back on when I use my mermaid coin at the next fountain. Man, the time lapse is really not necessary, though. What's really annoying, too, is... So this is the segment of the run where I need to wait for nighttime. So ever since I left Gale Shrine, and I started running through Kusa Village, the clock has been ticking. There's another, like, 5.5 minutes or something until nighttime. And I need it to be nighttime before I can basically progress the storyline of the game. So now that I'm out in the overworld, where time is passing normally, any kind of, like, small movement errors don't actually matter right now. Unless I have so many errors that I don't make it to Watcher's Cape before nighttime, which is pretty unlikely, or I have errors that are, like, menuing, or anything where I'm, like, in a state where time doesn't pass. Those things lose time, but running around the overworld is actually completely irrelevant as far as time save right now. If I make a mistake doing this trick, it doesn't matter because daytime is still progressing, which is all that I really need. So that's what makes kind of the Gale Shrine thing so cringe, is if I wanted to mess up like anything here, it would be no big deal. But messing up that trick, daytime isn't passing yet. So I actually do lose time when I do that, because daytime does not pass in the dungeon. So this trick has a version where you can actually do it easier by using the Karmic Transformer glitch. However, I'm not doing that, because doing the KT glitch involves pausing, and pausing involves stopping the day-night cycle. So I'm doing the new game strategy, where you don't use slow Karmic Transformer glitching to reset your jump. Because pausing would lose me time. It's one of the only ways I can lose time, actually. So, we do the trick without pausing. Because I can. It's not that big of a deal if you do want to pause and do it the easier method, but it does lose you time every time you pause. Alright, so we got Fire Burst, which we need in order to not get Inferno and not get Veil of Mist, which means we can skip Imperial Palace and we can skip Moon Cave and Crimson Helm, and there are no consequences for this. Yeah, I made it past Gale Shrine, and then lost an embarrassing amount of time to Gale Shrine Escape. But now the question is if I should do the soft lock, the Otohime skip. I think I'm gonna do it, but I'm definitely... Oh wait, I forgot I have to do this. That's okay. Overworld movement doesn't matter, smiley face. So I lose a small amount of time every time I mess this up. Because I'm doing pauses during this trick. Pauses lose you a marginal amount of time. There we go. So I only paused a couple times there. How much time do you think it loses to talk to Otohime? You get a couple extra loading zones, you get an elevator cutscene, you have to talk to Otohime, which probably takes like 15 seconds, and then leave and go back. I mean, I guess it depends how many times you mess up doing the Otohime skip. I mean, any trick depends on how many times you mess it up. That's not really a helpful thing to point out, but... What does it save, like a minute, maybe? Am I willing to soft lock my run to save a minute? I think so. Famous last words. So this is how you get up to Catcall Tower, or get up, what I mean is, This is how you get up Watcher's Cape without doing catcall first. I'm gonna store Gold Dash. And then I'm going to do this fight skip. There's a fight next to that guy that I don't want to do. And now I'm gonna go to the bathroom because I have to wait here for like 2 minutes now. BRB. Yeah, it's nice to have a break in the route a little bit. Man, I don't know what to do about this Otohime skip. I'm really nervous about it. Like, it's not that hard. It's not that likely that I'm gonna soft lock. It's only happened to me twice, and I've succeeded it in runs like 5 or 6 times or whatever. And I succeeded in practice virtually every time. So, like, I don't know, I gotta go for it. It's just like, when you imagine what would happen, like, I know that this is one of those, like, one of those things that, like, you shouldn't say, because then it's gonna happen, and it's gonna just sound so pathetic when it happens, but, like, this would be just so absolutely, like, gut-wrenching to fucking soft lock this run. It would just be completely horrible. The way the soft lock happens is, essentially what you're doing is, instead of talking to Otohime and getting the, like, shell card or whatever it's called, so that they'll let you talk to the water dragon, or, well, jump in the water dragon, actually, which is slow, you can do some creative parkour and jump straight into the water dragon. However, when you do that, you are jumping over, like, an out-of-bounds area. And if you don't jump very precisely, you can fall into the out-of-bounds area. And there are a number of different kinds of out-of-bounds in the game. Some of them are just like voids, where if you fall into them, you just void out, and you'll just spawn on the most recent valid ground you were standing on. Or you'll spawn at the origin if you never touch the ground, like what happens in Origin Warp in Gale Shrine. But if you don't make it over that, like, out-of-bounds area, in this particular spot, the out-of-bounds is not a void. It is like a box. It's like a... Ooh, I'm losing quite a bit of time here. It's like an inescapable box under the map. And if you go there, you cannot get out. You are stuck under the map in, like, an inescapable plane. And all you can do is just stand under Dragon Palace forever. There is no known way to escape in this category. I'm gonna go for it. This run isn't that good that I can afford to not go for it. If I was like a minute ahead, I would think about it. This run should not talk to Otohime. It just shouldn't. I just have to do the trick. I'm not even gonna... Oh no, I'm an idiot. Dude, this is so slow, god damn it. Now I wish I talked to her. Dude, I'm so bad. I gotta focus. Alright, we're good. We lost kind of cringe amount of time, but we did not soft lock. My positioning there was really good. As I've kind of done this trick more and more, I have a lot better eye for the optimal place to do that like double jump over that scary out of bounds area. And my positioning there was really good. I was in like a very optimal spot where I was able to be very high up, and I was still able to slope KT. And it was a really good place to jump from, so it actually wasn't that scary once I got up there. However, I did mess up the trick a couple times, which is unfortunate. Wow, and I lost dash. That was really weird and slow. I really gotta tighten up. I mean, I haven't done the endgame that much recently, so it stands to reason that I won't do as well there as I have in the beginning of the game recently. This is just a side effect of the fact that I haven't practiced the endgame very much at all. However, I am hoping to have a little bit better standards than what I'm currently achieving. Because I've lost, like, probably a full minute in the last, like, 2 segments, which is not really necessary. Fuck. And minute time losses. Not need to come so easily. Dude. That was really slow too. Fuck, dude. I'm like not capable of playing the game fast apparently. So here, the next wave of foxes will spawn more quickly if you power slash the previous one for their floral finisher. And the also end screen will come up quicker if you do the floral finisher as well. So power slashing the foxes quickly is beneficial if you can do so. So I'm definitely going to be a little bit behind my previous run coming out of here. My previous run had quite a few mistakes in the end game, so I can definitely gain time on some stuff that happened at the end. And also my last run is somewhat controversial, and this run is not. So that's advantageous as well. So even if it's like around the same or even a little bit slower, that's a little bit helpful until it is decided that turbo is allowed. Then it's not so bad to establish this run as as a reasonable try at this category without using any kind of turbo. So I have about 2 minutes to get to Rao. I'm trying to just estimate how behind I am. Not sure. There is a huge time save coming up in this section, though. So... oh, for fuck's sake. So after running to Rao, I'm guessing I'm gonna be like 30 seconds or a minute behind or something like that. However, right after that section, I'm going to Oni Island, which requires me to do Watcher's Cape early again, because I still don't have Catcall, which is still required to get up to Watcher's Cape in normal gameplay, which means I have to do that trick again where I can jump up the tower using jump up the Watcher's Cape using KTs. And in my last run, I failed that trick like 4 times. And when you do that during the Oni Island sequence, that actually causes the game to void you out as well, because you have a minute to get up there, and if you actually fuck it up that many times, not only have you fucked it up that long, but you also will get voided out, and you have to go back to the beginning of North Ryoshima, and run all the way from the beginning again, which is pretty cringe. I actually might be more than a minute behind. I'm already supposed to be, like, starting the fight. And this is understandable. I made a lot of mistakes here. But regardless, I can get that time back. So here's the cutscene introducing us to the aristocratic quarter, which we've never been to before, because we did not talk to Rao. We didn't talk to Rao, we didn't talk to Himiko, we just skipped everything about all of them, which is supposed to not happen, so that cutscene plays at a really inappropriate time. Now we have to do the New Game Plus Fire Tablet skip. Oh, I'm so high. What the fuck is my problem? Wow, I was so high I couldn't even buffer myself down. That's really unfortunate and not very smart. Alright. I don't concern myself too much with if I get a trick second try, it's fine. Alright. So we're a little bit behind here. But I'm gonna try to play the game good if I can. I'm really not that well practiced in this section, so... the question is, how well can I expect myself to play? I don't know. I'll do my best. I've done a lot of speedruns. I think there is some chance that I play really, really good. I think most likely I'm gonna have some small mistakes in like 1 or 2 spots, like maybe I'll miss the forehead jump one time, or fail like Oki skip once, or actually Oki skip I'm pretty good at. But maybe fill, like, Mechku skip or something. Some of those things are possible to happen. But I'm hoping to kind of keep things to minor disasters at worst. And generally keep things moving along and not have big time losses. That's what I'm really looking for here. Not for, like, any kind of perfection or anything. Just solid gameplay. And we ignore all of the filthy commoners who will die because we will not save them. Alright, and now I have to do one trick and not fail it 4 times. No pressure, right? I do not feel great about... Yeah, I actually couldn't do it there. Oh, that got really spooky at the end there, but okay. But we got it. That was kind of first try. Alright, so that's a huge time save. I don't split entering Oni Island for a second here. But I will get all of my time save. And I should be about even. So now, this is when the run kind of gets interesting. So the reason... I mean, it was probably more interesting before, but there is something that's kind of interesting about the endgame of this category. The endgame of this category is essentially a new game run. Let me focus on this briefly. Oh, I'm so good. The implementation of those, like, karmic transformer glitches are more or less over at this point. From this point on, most of what I'm doing is like a new game run, except with infinite money and overpowered weapons and stuff. The kind of crazy jumping all over fucking slopes and shit, not counting what I'm doing right now, which you do this in New Game anyway. Everything I'm kind of doing is more or less like a normal New Game speedrun. And as the New Game speedrun world record holder, I'm pretty good at a lot of this stuff. So I'm hopeful that we are going to keep this nice and clean, and we can do a nice speed run. That's what I'm hoping for. There is still a lot of hard stuff to do, but this is the hard stuff that's like my bread and butter. If I can't do these tricks, then who am I? So, let's be hopeful that everything's going to go very well, and we will get a nice time here. There's actually a fairly new discovery, how to do the fight skip I'm about to do, but I'm not risking it right now. You can run around this trigger, but there's actually a way you can jump over it. But I'm not doing that right now. I haven't practiced it. I am busy. Galestorm these guys, do their floral finisher so that the fight ends quicker. Otherwise their corpses take quite a while to disappear, and the end fight screen takes quite a lot longer to come up. If you Galestorm them, they just disappear and everything's chill. So there's a small cutscene here of the... Isun shows you the statue as you run up to it. But if you put your camera to inner camera and you kind of thunderstorm at a precise spot, you can actually destroy the statue before Isun tries to slow down your speed run and show you it. So that's a small optimization that's kind of nice. Just avoiding some extra cutscenes. And yeah, so there's kind of a bunch of crazy stuff going on in Oni Island, as well as in Kamui and in Wauku Shrine, but it's nothing that's exclusive to, like, New Game Plus. This is all stuff that I do in every run, basically.
They were just wrapped you really hard. They were hitting you from, like, 2 or 3 pieces of cover.
So here there's a little bit of a finicky trick coming up. This is called Toby Skip. This skips last race with Toby and lets you go straight to Ninetales, which I would like to do because that sounds very fast to me. So that sounds like a great idea. Alright, there we go. This is where the last race with Toby would end, but I make my own rules. I don't know what to tell you. The way that works is you go to a very specific spot in the room where you are able to activate that vine, but where you are so far and at such a weird angle that when the vine pulls you, it pulls you through the wall, and then you are able to bonk on the inside of the wall. After you cut the vine, you bonk inside and it pushes you further into the wall. And then you vine again, and it's able to pull you. Basically, you get stuck on the other side of the gate. like I got some more time saved there. I don't remember very precisely what happens in the run that I'm running against because I never uploaded it, which means I had never watched it particularly at all, actually. Because it's not even, like, agreed upon if it's a valid speedrun, so, like, why would I go through the, like, narcissism of watching my run? Oh, I have something important I need to do right now. I need to go do catcall. So catcall is actually required to beat the game, even though I skipped it multiple times already. I cannot skip the later uses of it, so I am not running right to the mermaid pool to warp out of here like I normally would. Instead, I am actually going to go do catcall right now, which is a really rare and unique time to do catcall in a speedrun. This is only something you would do in New Game Plus 2017. The classic New Game Plus categories do not do catcall at all, because they can fly, so the concept of needing a power to climb walls is absolutely preposterous. Oh my god. And in the new game categories, you need catcall much earlier than this point. You cannot get up to Watcher's Cape without having catwalk. So it's exclusive to this category that you can delay it to doing it here, which does save time, and it actually saves even more time in the new category because I need to delay activating Orca. Because activating Orca would cause another day reset, which is horrible. Also, there is a fight trigger as soon as you enter this area that I've skipped by doing parkour, which is how I skipped pretty much everything. So I want to land on one of these platforms at some point, whenever it's convenient for me to do so. Because landing on a platform causes the stray bead chest to not spawn. But I'll only do it if there's like a good time to do it. This is fine. Yisun talks to you, but it's a skippable cutscene, and the stray bead chest is an unskippable cutscene. Now I can get this fish out of my inventory, so it's not on the way anymore. It's been in my first inventory slot for about 55 minutes now. I haven't used very many exorcism slips since it's been there, but it has been in the way a couple times, and I prefer that it's not. So here, I never actually opened up Shinshu Field, the mermaid pool. So I'm actually warping to Agata here, and I have to go on a little bit of a run. The Shinshu Field Demon Gate is slow, and I actually don't have to do it at all if I simply do this like small run that's a little bit longer than normal. Normally you would need to come back here like a couple times, because normally when you're doing a route that doesn't do the Gale Shrine Origin Warp, you are then required to do all of the dogs, which means you have to do Hayabusa, who is in Kamiki Village, which is connected to this area, which means that like when you're when you're leaving after doing Hayabusa, you basically have to activate that Demon Gate if you haven't done so before then. But because I didn't have to do that, there's no reason for me to ever activate the Demon Gate, actually. Here, there's another small cutscene you can skip by standing in a somewhat general area over there and going into first person. It lets you shock the statue without getting close enough to it that you get the cutscene showing you that the statue exists, as if you were not already aware. And now,
Where are you driving?
I'm going to skip all of Kamui. Like everything. I will talk to nobody and do nothing. Only skips. There's all sorts of stuff that's supposed to happen here, and I will do absolutely, literally none of it. First step is I need to bloom Kamui using a camera adventure. I don't think this is gonna work. Oh. I'm spooked. Did I fuck it up? Oh no, it's still working. Oh, that's so lucky. I did that really badly. The way I did that was extremely unsafe and inconsistent, and I am blessed that this is looking okay. That was absolutely bad execution. Alright. So, we skipped talking to people, we skipped fighting Oki and other scripted fights, and all sorts of that stuff. That's all not necessary. Now, we're gonna skip another required fight,
I assumed when I got in here...
which requires us to run around in circles for a little bit. And then do this. So normally there's an igloo turtle fight that gets in your way there, as you're trying to get over to this section of Kamui. I don't want to fight the igloo turtle, therefore I will not fight the igloo turtle. You can skip him using parkour. Here we have the village of Wepcare. They're undergoing some hard times right now. I will not fix their problems. They will all die. And their village will never be normal ever again. Because saving their village doesn't cause the end credits to play. That guy wants to talk to me. I don't care. This might not work. Oh god, that was so scary. Okay, we're good. Now we're out of bounds. Now we're even more out of bounds than before. Now we've skipped the gate, which would normally require you to watch a lot of cutscenes and do all sorts of shenanigans to get to this area, Izofuji. So we skip all of that. We are yet to speak to a single human being in Kamui. Or do a single fight in Kamui, of which there are meant to be numerous scripted fights by now. They wouldn't even take me that long to kill anything. I mean, it's New Game Plus, I'll literally one-shot everything, but despite that fact, you still can't make me do them, because I don't have to. And then now you're supposed to go up to here, and they're supposed to give you the thing, so you can go to the forest, and you can go to Pongtan, and you can go to 100 Years of the Past, and you can go fight Orochi and all that stuff. But instead, we can skip that by doing parkour. We are now out of bounds. And we are now in Wauku Shrine. Man, I did that section phenomenally in my last run. My god. I did everything perfectly, and I still lost 13 seconds since I beat Ninetales. I must have did a fucking damn good job in my last run. Until now, this is where shit hits the fan. This is where I could get more time saved. There were a lot of mistakes in Nechku Skip and Cannon Room in my last run. Many mistakes. So there's a lot of time I can make up, coming up soon. First we have to bypass getting this key, which we can do when you bloom the iceberg. It's one of those cutscenes that will teleport you. So if I can, when you fire burst it, I mean. So it warped me on the inside of the gate. I need to get better speed, please. There we go. This is one of the required uses of catcall. I think maybe the only one. It's not known how to get past that area without having catwalk. Dude, I'm getting fucking spooked right now. Let me go. Alright, we're good. I don't have Gold Dash because I'm a moron. Which makes those jumps way more precise, and if you fall there, you can actually get completely fucked over. So I was being extra cautious there, because I really didn't want anything catastrophic to happen. So I did that maybe a little bit safer than was entirely necessary, but I just didn't want anything disastrous to happen. You skip another cutscene by fire bursting from that precise spot. It avoids a cutscene where you look at the slot machine longingly. I am not interested in looking at the slot machine longingly, so I skip that cutscene. And then now here we have a pretty big skip, and it's probably the hardest new game skip that's in the run, in which we can skip doing the majority of this dungeon by doing parkour. Fuck, I messed it up. That's really bad. I'm really sad now. Gotta do it again. Oh, I thought I messed it up again. That would have been really stressful if I fucked that up. It would have made me very sad. And that is a perfect cannon room with no veil of mist. Which is great. That's excellent. That's pretty hard. And being on New Game Plus does not make it that much easier. It makes it so you can't die, but losing time is just as bad as dying in my book. So, if I lost so much time that I died, just kill me in real life anyway, because that would be just complete and utter disaster. I fucked that up. Alright, I get to try that one more time.
I am here at the sunroom.
Alright, that's not that big of a deal. It's alright. And it's looking like we're gonna save quite a bit of time here. I'm guessing... So I have about 1:40 seconds to beat the birds, of which I already had 40 seconds of that time save. The birds will probably be dead in about 15 seconds from now, so I got some good time save there. Waiting for the end screen to split. Should be now. We do not save because saving is illegal in speedruns. And now it is time to go to the end game.
Long res grenade.
Yes, I have the resolve. So this is where the boss rush comes into play. So this is why we had to get Vine, and we had to get some other stuff. It's all required because of this area, even if we had ways to skip it. Yeah, the pace is pretty good. The run was a little bit slower at Gale's Shrine than the previous run. However, the rest of the run was overall better execution. So it's gonna go pretty quick. I'm gonna swap out my weapon here because you can one-shot things with swords and you cannot one-shot things with a reflector. And then, generally speaking, after every fight, we are trying to position ourselves such that we're pretty close to where the portal will spawn, so that we can very quickly enter the portal.
Going for the res, I'm going for the res.
Yeah, I'm gonna be fat Amy for the rest of the run, actually, because Well, I've probably been Fat Amy for quite a while, and will continue to be so because there's no reason for me to change it anymore. So, this is now a Fat Amy run. And I guess it always has been. When was the last time I did a KT? Like, the last time I did a KT was doing Watcher's Cape early, I think. So I guess I've been Fat Amy for 30 minutes or something. That's cool. So Orochi has a strat that is exclusive to New Game Plus 2017, or actually normal New Game Plus as well. But I'm not going to do it because it's quite hard. I'm going to do basically the same as how you would do it in New Game. So if you want to see optimal Orochi strats for this stuff, I'm very sorry, but I will not be doing that. However, it will still be very fast. The strat that you could do that I'm not doing is that instead of baiting the heads to attack you and then water spouting them, you can instead hit the heads with your sword, which is very precise, and I am not doing it. So the way I'm doing it is I water spout 4 heads at a time, and then I kill them all with XL. But you can actually kill the heads one by one. I'm not sure how much faster it is to do that strat, but I've not practiced it, so it's not happening, unfortunately. It's pretty challenging, I think. In fairness with that strat, I think it's a strat that's very hard to get the optimal time save by doing it. I think that it is a strat where you're very likely to make some mistakes. The strat that I am doing instead, it's possible to make mistakes, but it's not very likely that I'm going to make a mistake because I'm very good at that strat. So for me, I'm willing to lose, I don't actually know how much time, a little bit slower, but it makes it way more consistent for me personally as a runner to not have to deal with the stress of very specifically timing your sword attack to be right when the head is about to hit you. And it's very embarrassing and you feel very silly when you mess it up, and I don't want to feel embarrassed or silly right now, so we're just not going to live that whole lifestyle. I'm going to do something fast instead. Yeah, this is a good paced run. I think I'm going to save a little bit of time in the boss rush. I'm anticipating to save some time, but not a lot. So we're probably looking at, if I go really quick, 153 potentially. That would be a lot of fun. 153 would be cool. I would like to see that. That would be cool, in my opinion. I'm just excited to take a break from this category. This category is so stressful now. It's actually mind-blowing. Like, the tricks that are in New Game are harder overall, and New Game also has like a huge reset point 20 minutes into the run, but Gale Shrine and the soft block potential in
Okami left.
Dragon Palace. It just makes everything just so stressful. It like really puts the pressure on. And I dislike the stress this category puts on me very much. I think it's a great category, but I think the current implementation, especially without turbo, is very brutal for the speedrunner. So, I guess at this point, now that I've done the good run without using turbo, at this point it's now to my advantage, at least as far as like my time is concerned. It's actually better if they don't allow turbo, because now that I've done it without it, I don't need it anymore. I did the run. It's pretty quick. It's quite hard to beat. It's definitely beatable, but it's a lot harder to beat if you don't use turbo. But as far as like, if I ever wanted to run this category again,
We're pushing left and down.
I don't know if I would want to run it again if there's no turbo option, because it just really makes it just so oppressive. Oh no, dude. Okay, cool. It almost did the cutscene. That would have been really awkward and embarrassing. I was a little early on my sword. Yeah. You know, not... The main thing about, like, this speedrun or, like, Okami speedrunning in general, you shouldn't be, like, deterred from getting involved with the community or doing your own speedruns or anything, just because I'm super stressed out doing my run, because every category has ways that you can make the run easier or harder based on what you have and haven't learned and how much time you're willing to commit. So I mean, I would recommend anybody who's interested to like hang out on the Discord, give the game a try, practice some of the tricks, do a run, even if it takes you 8 hours to do your first run, or it's like, oh no, I can't do all the tricks. Like, it's fine. You know, just kind of like get involved and just have fun and whatever, and then like as you can get more practice, then you can start doing the more difficult stuff. Like, nobody's putting a gun to your head and making you do the route that I do and do this insane shit, because it's actually completely not necessary. And yeah, it's fine.
Bolter's down, Bolter's down. They're conked you, they conk you. They're resonating Bolter. wrapping you guys alright?
I'm hoping for 153 here. I should be able to get it. I think I'm on for the 153. That would be tight. I'd really like to get that time. More than like 154.01 or whatever. That fucking roar sounds just absolutely horrible when you're Fat Amy. Good god. It just really sounds horrible. Skipping a cutscene. Draw the sunrise. Draw the sunrise. Kill the guy. You mash start through 2 cutscenes. 1 cutscene, 2 cutscene, and then you can mash X. That should be 153. Yay! This run's so stressful.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, that's the category. Stay away from that Gale Shrine.
Down.
It's a scary place.